to one and all present here. Honorable Chairman, esteemed Director, Most Honorable Vice Chancellor of Anna University, Deans of our college, sister concern and Anna University, Principals of sister concerns, HODs, faculty members, dear my young graduates, parents and other dignitaries of the dais, on the dais. Once again, it's my privilege to welcome you all for this wonderful occasion. Today, we are here for our 30th graduation day program. It's my duty to deliver the graduation report. So, in fact, our college was started in the year 1984 with an intake of 120. Started with three branches only. Later, we had increased our strength, and now we have 10 undergraduate program, 9 postgraduate programs, which includes the architecture department, 5 years course of study, coupled with undergraduate program of engineering studies like chemical engineering, marine engineering, civil engineering, information technology, mechanical engineering, electronics and communication engineering, electrical and electronics engineering, and aeronautical engineering. And in PG program, we are having MBA, MCA coupled with thermal engineering, chemical engineering, power system engineering, communication engineering, and computer science and engineering. Since our college is very reputed and our students are very bright, I am really proud of my student who secured average of 85% in their university examination. Really, I congratulate all the students and parents to take an effort in bringing this level of our college, coupled with the university rank holders of 23 rank holder, stating our college at the level of 29 out of 593 college. I am really proud of my students. In particular, I can say the student registered during 2017 in and around 555 students were registered. Out of 555, 475 are going to graduated and going to receive their degree. In specific, in undergraduate program, out of 439, 370 students are going to get their degree. That means that 84% of result have produced by undergraduate studies. In addition to that, in postgraduate studies, out of 116 students, 104 students got their degree. That is 90% is the output at an average of 85 for our college. This takes the standards of our college. And really used to say in all the occasions, our chairman used to say, entry is not an important, only exit is very important. Entry is not important, only exit is important. On the day of inauguration itself, we gave an assurance to all the parents, you give me the soil, we will convert that as a gold. You give me the soil, we will convert that as a gold. Your dream comes true today. Your dreams comes true today. What all the assurance we made it, they are going to receive the golden degree, that too from the most honorable Vice Chancellor of Anna University, in coupled with the discipline degree of our college, invisible discipline degree of our college. Now I can assure you that our students can survive anywhere in the universe with a good name and good status and discipline. I wish each and every one of our young graduates for the bright future, and have a nice day for giving me this opportunity. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Vanakkam and good morning to all of you. Thiru Muhammad Yusuf, the chairman of the Muhammad Satak Trust, the trust which has founded this great institution, and you have Dr. Muhammad Jabbar, the Dean of this engineering institution, Dr. Abbas Mohideen, Principal of the Muhammad Satak Engineering College, Dr. Manivanan, the Director, and other distinguished members who are on the dais, then heads, deans of the faculties, heads of the departments, the members of the board of management, faculty and the staff of this college, the graduating students of the 2017 batch, their proud parents, family members, invitees and ladies and gentlemen, and the members of the media. I am very delighted to be here this morning, here to address the graduates on the occasion of the 30th graduation day. I wish to express my sincere and grateful thanks to the chairman, the secretary, and the other members of the management, and to the principal and the secretary of the trust for inviting me to be here with all of you this morning. I know that today is a very important day and a very joyous and day for all the graduating students, their proud parents, and the faculty members who have struggled very hard, who provided the continuous support to all the graduating students in several ways. In fact, it is their struggle and sacrifices made all of you today to realize your ambitions and aspirations. My very hearty congratulations to all of you, all the graduating students, and the prize and the medal winners on this graduating day. I am, first of all, before I begin my formal talk, I wish to express my compliments, pay my compliments, pay my tribute to the founder chairman of this college, but Muhammad Satak, for having, for all his vision in establishing this college nearly 40 years back in a very remote area of Tamil Nadu, state of Tamil Nadu, and especially in a rural setting, to impart quality technical education to the large number of people, boys and girls in this region. It is not very easy to establish, more easy to establish a college in a city, in a metropolitan city like Chennai, Bangalore and all, but it is not that easy. It is very, very difficult. We want to think about this establishing a college in a remote area, and it is truly very, very heart-rending for me to see that 40 years back, Muhammad Sadak took a decision of courageous decision of establishing a college, and his family members continues to nurture this college and bring it up to this today, this level, where you have many non-conventional branches of science and engineering, like marine engineering, aerospace, aeronautical engineering, chemical engineering, which are not normally done in an engineering college. So it is very gratifying for me to see how well he thought. The one thing is the non-conventional branch, which are not easy to establish in a remote area like this, and those branches which having a great relevance to the societal needs. Marine engineering, just across the sea, we have a people to get trained. Chemical engineering, I understand that's what chemical industries for us around here. So it is a very imaginative of him to have thought about it and started all this program. I pay my tributes to the founders and for having done this extraordinary job of establishing this college and providing education to the large number of boys and girls in this local region. Now, on an occasion like this, on a convocation or the graduation day, it's a customary for the chief guest to talk about the opportunities, that is ahead of you in the coming years, because as one of the in this welcome speech or someone talked to you, the life begins now. The real life begins now, from now on. Whatever you have learned, how to put it to the best use of it and to become the best citizen of this country, that is the one that now is the challenge for you in this world with lot of things have changed in the last 20 years compared to the things that used to happen, that used to exist during my generation and the generation of the many people who are sitting on the dais, and off the dais and on the dais. I wish to talk about you some of the opportunities and the challenges that lie ahead of you, and that the role that you can play in making the difference to the society and to the people around you and to your professional as well as the outside for your professional life. I don't have to give many examples, take far from this place. Take one example, not far from here, a great son of the India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, made such a great distinction, great difference to the people of the country, way in which he led the life both personally and professionally, and that is the kind of a life I think that is the most role model that you all can choose and rise to the occasion and contribute to the society. And how you can do, you all young graduates now, you have spent a couple of years in this institution which has imparted you this best education possible to you, all of you, all around the days, years, and you have, during this period you have learned many things. You have picked up all the fundamentals of engineering. You have been grounded in this kind of engineering principles and communicative skills, hands-on experience, variety of skills, and experience in executing a project either in the institutions or in the industry. So you have accumulated a large body of knowledge, engineering knowledge in a variety of disciplines, and perhaps some of you have already placed in secured jobs in various companies. As one of the principals has given me the sheet, that is quite an impressive thing. I think out of the 450 students graduating, more than 273 students I think have been placed. It's a remarkable number for a college like this, for a remote area, and I'm sure many more will be joining for higher studies both in India and abroad. I was told by the principal or chairman of the secretary that some of the alumni of this institution have gone to the Western world, including in NASA, where, so that itself is an indication the quality of the engineering education provided in this institution. And some of you perhaps who have not secured a job, you don't need to get disappointed or frustrated. I think that is one thing I think young minds, young talented people should keep in mind. Just because a couple of months delay in getting a placement doesn't mean that is the end of the life for you. You must continue to be very positive, always energetic, and see what is to be done. Why perhaps you are not picked up for a job, maybe certain things, doesn't mean that it's a failure. You know, it is something that is necessary skill is not there, and perhaps which you did not pick up during the course of the time, but that is not the end, that you still have an opportunity to pick up those skills, and that is possible through the various skill initiative measures the government of India has taken. Please look around for that kind of a skill developmental centers and get you trained, whether it's a mechanical or electrical or a computer science, so that you become ready for employment. So that is one thing I would like to tell you. Please don't give up your hopes. A delay in your job, professional, continue professional job, securing a professional job, a couple of months, it is not at all, it is setback. It is a thing for you to introspect yourself, to think back and see what you missed during the 4 years of your stay need to be picked up. So this is what I want to emphasize on youngsters. So please be on the right path always. Don't have the shortcut methods in your life. Don't have the shortcuts approaches, and don't get tempted away by the various other things. Always go in a righteous way, more disciplined way. Learn your things. It's what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has shown to all of us, and you should follow his footsteps. And when he can do that one, when he long ago, 50 years back, without much of any facilities, much other kinds of comforts that you people are used to, there is no reason why you cannot rise to that level, at least some of you, and contribute to the society. You are also one thing, another thing that is makes a large difference between you and what the generation that existed, that came to life about couple of several decades ago. You were born at a time when you have the many fantastic disruptive technologies that developed, came into existence, came on the horizon, which includes the internet, World Wide Web, the newer technologies in the communication technologies, various weight of Wi-Fi, energy production, and several things that we have been witnessing, which has made your life different not only to you, to your parents and your neighboring people, which has completely changed the life and completely they had brought out a significant changes in all rounds all of us. And these kind of changes are, we can see, which you are witnessing every day. It's inevitable, unprecedented, and beyond all our expectations and imaginations. But don't think that changes have come to an end. These changes are going to be continued. You will witness more and more challenging and much more disruptive technologies, innovations, and make the life your life totally different. You have already heard about it. You must be reading in the newspapers the kind of thing that we are talking about: artificial intelligence, robotics, and many other things, including the autonomous vehicles, autonomous cars, and decentralized power systems, and many things. It's a very new ways of delivering the services. So all these things you must look at it, and you embrace these things, keep continuously abreast of these things, and see how you can bring these things, changes, this kind of a disruptive technology to the local community around you. And there are many challenges which I will be listing you, how we can make use of all this learning, continued learning of this one, what is happening over a period of time. You should not rest even for a day unless you really see what is going to happen in the next 10 years. And please keep track of these things and see how we can utilize all these things to help your own local community, people, your own villages, people around you, society around you, where you identify the kind of problems they are facing and link that problems and bring a solution to the based on the knowledge that you have gained, skills that you have acquired, and put into the use. It doesn't matter if you fail, if you don't do that one day, but you need to do it, continuously. You cannot give it up. The other thing that I would like to emphasize for you is engineering is no longer one single domain discipline. Engineering is now encompasses many disciplines. This is where you can play an effective role. It is no longer just a civil engineering, building a bridge, calculating the stress and strain, machine engineering, mechanical engineering, designing a machine. Now things have changed completely. The kind of bridges that we build is sensor bridges, which we can foretell whether it is going to crack, what is its residual life. You have to insert many sensors in that one. You have to see the predictable life of those bridges, which requires all other branches of engineering: instrumentation, electrical engineering, sensors, nanotechnology. So this is where your engineering skills need to be upgraded and put into the use to solve the futuristic problems. The futuristic problem where you have the devices, buildings, complexes, industrial products, which can encompasses many disciplines. So you need to learn something of it, not necessarily being an expert, but once you know something, you can involve experts in those areas and bring in and attend to this kind of engineering solutions. Now all these things have been made possible because the spectacular advances that have been made in the last 10-20 years. The pace at which the technology is changing is possible because only our understanding of the science has gone in a greater depth. Every sphere of activity, every sphere of field of science, whether it's a biology or it's a human body or a materials or sensors or acoustics or if you take ultrasound, everything now has been put into a different uses now. People are continuously exploring all these phenomena in different directions, for different applications. It is not only for human health, it is for building the industries, building the devices, building various other, bringing the water, making the water, what you call this, the sewage water into drinking water, and energy production, developing new methods of renewable energies, in a very small, very localized way. So it's limitless. the technologies that are around you that you can develop and continue to play is enormous. So please, what is required is your curiosity, enthusiasm, your passion, imagination, intuition. This needs to be kept in mind, and you have to utilize all these things to see that you become a better engineer and you play a very significant role in the society. And although we have this, in the last 20 years, all these technological disruptive technologies have brought into brought many benefits to all of us, but it at the same time has brought in many new challenges. Okay, well, you always see one technology bringing some benefits, also creating some problems. Problems because the way in which you look at the issues, and okay, thank you. And because over the year of last 30, 40 years, we have recklessly exploited our human natural resources. So it is the dwindling natural resources and limited scarce resources had made us to think, regulate the uses of the natural resources, including the water, the way in which water is managed, both for irrigation and for the drinking purposes, energy, coal, and many natural, whether the coal and many other things, trees, forests, rivers, this completely changed the way in which you have to look at the issues now. Because we need to preserve these things for our future generation. Our future generation also need to use these things at least for several hundred years. In order to do that one, you need to take steps which were discarded, which were totally ignored for various reasons. So you need to look at these things and carefully preserve our resources and see this kind of all the comforts and the energy, water, housing, all these things are made available to all of us in the future generation. Other thing is, the health care. The health care is the one where, although you have banished or eradicated many very conventional diseases that used to exist soon after the independence, like plague, malaria, typhoid, and many other things. But now new forms of diseases, which comes from because of the technological use, many other technological benefits. For example, repeated abuse of the antibiotics has given rise to the virus, which are resistant to these various antibiotics. So these are creating a hell of a problem, both in the hospitals as well as outside in the ICUs. So you need to regulate these things, find out solution for these things. Okay. And so the many other things continue to be like that, whether the energy, whether the waste management, our increased consumption, or what you call this, various resources consumptions, and it has led to a lot of enormous waste generation. Waste could be municipal waste, it's a food waste, it could be electronic waste, and all these things are creating a havoc both in the metropolitan areas and the other areas. So we need to manage this kind of waste management very prudently, carefully, scientifically, so that our lands can remain fertile and we continue to grow food. It will not destroy the ability to grow food and grow the plantations and all. So these are some of the challenges that lie ahead of all of you. At the same time, what I would like to talk about is what is for you young graduates, with all the understanding of the science, the technologies that are developed which you have been using, and the technologies that you need to develop in the future to protect our future generations and create what you call provide a sustainable life for the generations of the people to come. We also need to do what is our role, what is the life of your life after you are getting a position, job, placement, higher studies, starting our own industry, become a startup entrepreneur. What is all life? Life is always getting inspired and motivated to achieve new heights and accomplish new goals. This is what repeatedly told by many great personalities, either it's Obama or our own people like Abdul Kalam or Swami Vivekananda. Many people, it's always you have to look around the society around us. It is not just only we are achieving a greater economic life, living a more comfortable life. So many times it also gives you opportunities that has absolutely turn the course of your path in life. This is what happened in the case of Dr. Abdul Kalam. Okay, he was there in a school, small school, joined the small defense research organization, and after seeing his merit, his dedication and passion, he was picked up by Professor Satish Dhawan and put into the space department and Vikram Sarabhai. It changed the country's entire space program, defense program, and it created a new opportunities for him. And his own personalities eventually led him to become the president of this country, one of the first scientists to become the great president of the nation. So this is where you need to look at it, how people achieved these greater heights. Okay, some people might have been possible to achieve, accumulate things, many things not but there are people in our own country who have achieved all these things with a righteous path, with a dedication, with all the commitment to the society, and these are the people you should remember, and you have to emulate those people. And whatever you do, one is important is the education that you have acquired, the skills that you have acquired, and the goals that you achieve finally in achieving your professional goals. But one thing you should ensure that you must remain a good human being. That is important, and do it in a very most trustworthy manner. So these are the two things which is important for you to be very successful, and this is what many great personalities have practiced, and begin human being and do your things in a most trustworthy manner. Now, having achieved all these distinctions, the country has achieved many made many big important strides, in a variety of spheres. Our longevity of the life has increased substantially. Our per capita income has gone up. Our literacy rate has gone up. We live, the country has built large number of airports, swanky things. But the question is, if the country has to become a developed country, again I want to develop this, what our former president speaks about it, but I also am aware of it. If you look around the country, going around, whether the kind of a benefits, the average quality of the life of our Indian still far below that of any other country, any country which has not achieved these distinctions. Okay, that they are not the countries. Some of the countries I am going to quote you now. They are not the largest population, most wealthiest people that we have got. Billionaires list. Perhaps you top in the world. In Asia, we are number one. We have the 1 billion mobile phones, and you have the powerhouse in the software. But still, the average quality of the life of a common man is well below what is expected, to be a developed country. Countries like, so even our neighboring countries like our Sri Lanka and South Africa has got much more higher internet speed than what we have. Their business ability to do business is much higher than us. Okay. And many things, we have still the water, providing drinking water to the millions of our people, and providing affordable health care to the people in the rural areas, it is far from satisfactory. So all these things has to be seen. These are what we call the glaring contradictions in our country. On one side, you have some very spectacular developments. You are able to send a moon or Chandrayaan mission on the moon, but still the drinking water availability to the millions of the people, and the child going to the school safely in the roads, in the evenings, women walking, it still is a concern for all of us, and for which we need to do that lots more than what we are doing today. And this needs a very collective efforts, very determined efforts, and very what you call a strong minds to follow things in a right path. And many other things also we have, we have achieved many things by volume wise, but the quality wise, by the impact wise, we are still far behind many of the countries, including this, many other countries. One of the things that I always find the reason for this kind of a glaring, why we are with all that human talent that we have got, abundant talent, the rural talent is amazing. I was told by the principal of the college, 50% of the graduates of this one is a first graduates. I am aware, I come from a village, rural world. I come from an agricultural family, and I have passed through the same steps that you people are passing now. But I will see the kind of a talent that exists in each one of you is enormous. So what is required is to see that the talent is nurtured and completely utilized, and made every efforts, your determination and your resolving power to stick on to your values. That is what it counts. That is, don't give up that one. That's what I want to tell you repeatedly to all the people who have been addressing the convocations. No matter what kind of an influence, extraneous influence people bring on you, to temptations that show on you, but never give up these values, this to carrying out the things in a most trustful manner. And finally, what I would like to say is, country has made, but there is a glaring a disparity in many of our technological and economical indicators clearly confirms our high degree of the disparity and inequality in the quality of the life of the people. This is very clearly seen. Our Human Development Index (HDI) is one of the not very happy situation, but it's only 0.6 or not 3, standing somewhere about 128 among the nations of the 190 or so. But if you look at the countries which which have made more progress than us, countries even in Africa and other countries have stand much better in terms of this quality life. So this is important that some of the parameters that is required is in order to achieve high quality life is environmental cleanliness, awareness about the environment, and gender inequality, the parity of the gender, women empowerment, cleanliness, and the trustworthy doing the things, and the process and procedures in place. This is very critical in most of the developing countries like Singapore and all, which you see, which is country which is formed only most recently, and they have achieved a much higher level of things. In fact, the 3-4 universities stand very high in among the world 200 universities or so. But those countries were like China and Singapore, 30 years back, they were nowhere near us, and they were able to do it not because of the natural resources, but their commitment to the nation, their patriotism, their resolving power, their ability to see that country as a one, as a people, as one nation, able to do with a greater rigor, and able to achieve all these things. Only that is possible if you work very relentlessly and make use of all the knowledge that you have gained over the years. We don't have to look for the people, as I mentioned to you many times, the role models. Role models, you have to keep thinking about it and read in the books what they have contributed, how they have achieved, rather than you getting into the shortcuts and start methods from your close friends and relatives. No, you can achieve this one by doing this kind of a way. You don't have to go in the rightful way. Please stop that kind of a thinking. Always stick to the right path. And as I mentioned to you, as every religion says that this country, we are born not for me, for my, but it is for all of us. It is that kind of a centric thing should go away. It is not, you must move away from the I and me centric mindset and contribute our might to the progress of the nation and benefit of the society. And you must stand as a shining examples of upholding the highest level of professional integrity and ethical values in our society. And we can draw inspirations from many great personalities of our own country and great scientists of our own country. I don't have to mention his name, and people from abroad. Okay, and we need to emulate their life. Our lives and the preachings must set examples of noble values so that our future generation remember through ages. And at the end, I would like to say, you make living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give to the society. So I wish to once again, I wish to congratulate all of you and wish you all the best in all your endeavors. I thank you once again for inviting me for this function. Jai Hind.